Ba-ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Greetings and aloha. What's going on? It's Mike from LiveMyAssOff.com. What I believe I'm doing right now is live on Facebook and live on YouTube. I'm coming in via StreamYard, and it's good, actually, that I don't have the big boy version. I'm paying $10 a month for this version because I just simply don't use it enough to justify paying anything more than that, other than the fact that I actually like the guys that made StreamYard, but that's not enough for me to justify giving the money. So right now, I should be live on YouTube and I should be live on Facebook. So let me verify all of that I just told you. Because if you watched my stream this morning, I look good on Facebook, although I will say I'm a little disappointed that that I don't seem to be buffering, actually, which is a little disappointing. This is extremely disappointing. But hopefully I'm not any longer. So anyway, I'm gonna pause. I'm gonna pause Facebook, and actually I'm just gonna blow off Facebook. Is what I'm gonna do. And then I'm gonna go over to the tube. And see how that's going. And it's going, so that's good. I can hear myself there inside of YouTube, and I can see the video. So let me just pause that. And then now what I'm going to do, although what's odd, right, is that if I go into YouTube Studio and I go into Manage, and then I go into Stream, okay, good. So they give me a green, coming in clear from Thailand. Oh, wow, Curtis, you're in Thailand? My God, dude. Thank you very much. It's midnight there, right? It's 12:18 a.m. Is that accurate? All right, so that's pretty cool. So that's working there. So that's good. And let me tell you, I really appreciate that feedback. That was totally, like, pretty much unsolicited. So thank you so much for helping out with that. Let me bring my StreamYard screen over here to the main screen. So I'm kind of hey, Missy, how you doing? Now, okay, so here's one of the beauties of StreamYard that you can't do, that you like it. So before this video, I was just using YouTube. I was referring to it arguably incorrectly, which is YouTube Studio live streaming. And for the most part, I think most people refer to that as live control room. YouTube Studio Live Control Room. So that's where I was, and within that, you can do this video thing here, but you can't do any sort of like overlay stuff like this, and you certainly can't do like having the comments show up again within YouTube Live Control Room. So the next step that a lot of us probably took, the ones that you took. Thank you for the clearness notification in live streaming, because I don't know about a lot of you, but you probably began watching certainly more live streams as COVID became the in thing, as COVID became really popular with the kids. And then StreamYard showed up, right? And so that was this super easy solution, which is what I'm in right now. And as you can see, I only pay $10, so that means I have to have their name, but I also get my logo. But I don't get their logo, but I at least get their name up there. So it's $10 a month, which is totally fine, and it allows me to do some of this stuff, right? So I can I get my title here, and of course I can change these colors and things like that. I can share my screen very easily, which is nice. You can share the screen as the video part of the screen as well as the audio. So I can go in here. And right now, too, they have the... So I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to share the screen, and I'm going to share everything so you basically see me in me. So, yeah. So while this is like a double thing, but here at the bottom, what's nice, if I get rid of me and just do this. At the bottom... Wait, sorry. Let me get rid of that. At the bottom, you can see how there is this this share thing, right? And so that's where I shared this screen that you're seeing me. But the nice thing too is that they give you the ability to add an extra camera. So that's pretty awesome. And if I had like 2 cameras here and I wasn't basically traveling and living out of a suitcase, backpack-ish kind of thing, then likely I'd probably have more. And as you can see over here on the left, right? So I have like the ability, and this is what they refer to as the green room down here. So if I were to invite somebody, then they would show up here and basically be sort of faded like this until I added them. And then these things down here, you know, single view, right? If I have a guest and then a guest with a different format, and then main person, you know, with the guests smaller. And then over here, which basically allows me to do the shared screen in a smaller format. And then basically I'm the smaller format, the screen is shared. And then, or I'm overlaid here with like sort of that background, or the only thing you see is the shared screen. So those are the cool options as far as that goes. I'm going to stop sharing and just talk to you here. Oh, and then the other thing about settings, right? Okay, so hold on. Let me reshare. And again, a lot of you may know this, but I'm just sort of going through it because it's one of those sort of teach to learn things, right? Like if I go through this and as I'm describing it, there's a possibility they're like, oh, wait a minute. I'm going to tell you guys about something I completely spaced on. So let me share the screen again. And actually, I don't need a background, so I'm going to make this a little bigger. And we're going to do share the screen, and I purposely don't share the system audio because then it would be sort of me feeding back on itself, on myself. So anyway, so here is let me get rid of myself and just do this. So here's the big screen, and then down here in settings, as you can see, right, you have the ability to choose many different cameras. OBS camera is nice. It's basically just software that generates a virtual camera that then you can bring into OBS, and then you could take the output of OBS, and then you could put that into the input of StreamYard here. You could choose that, right? So virtual out camera. Polypop camera and OBS virtual camera, those are effectively the same thing. Polypop is simply another OBS flavor of software that's on the desktop. But for these tests, we are testing in-browser streaming solutions. Gopro Webcam, that allows you to basically take your webcam and physically plug it into a USB-C port, if you have the newer version that has USB-C out on the camera, and then use that as a webcam. There's a little bit of a delay to it. You can also get some software that actually allows you to use it over Wi-Fi, and so that's kind of a neat thing. But for right now, I'm just simply using the webcam that comes with the laptop. And then the audio, and then let me just say, so I absolutely could be streaming in 1080p if I pay them more money, but I'm already live into 720, which again, for all of this testing, it's basically not necessarily the quality of the stream primarily. It's more of the features that are available in these in-browser solutions. Audio, there's a whole bunch, and you can probably see the green here, which is great. And in fact, if I do this, they give you the ability to make sure you test that StreamYard is working, and then you would normally hear this. Testing the speakers on StreamYard. Sounds like they're working. So that's, you know, it's like, okay, great. So now that's like, I can hear what's coming in, and depending upon the settings, like for example, I can test it, right? And you guys like hear what you just heard. But then I also have these buttons on my mixer. And right now, I can hear it, but you can't hear it, and now both of us can hear it. So anyway, that's the external mixer that I have. And then you can see echo cancellation, stereo audio. Stereo audio I just threw on because I don't need to worry about echo cancellation because I have headphones on, and I have a mixer that is discretely separating all of the all of the audio, i.e. input is separate from output, and I'm not going to get a feedback like if I were using my desktop, if I were using my laptop microphone and the speakers. Echo cancellation is pretty darn important. Automatic adjust, I use that because that's not available in YouTube, but is available here for some AGC. So if I talk way too loud and I overmod my microphone going in, then that allows me to. Virtual background, I'm totally blowing off right now. I could use it, but again, it's one of the features that, yes, it's available in these in-browser streaming solutions, but it's not. I mean, I could turn it on, right, and then you would see like bricks behind me. But you know, it's not something that I really care about right now. And if I wanted to do it badly enough, then I'd use my $9 piece of green screen that I bought on Lazada, and I'd go from there. So anyway, those were the features for that. But let me remove the screen share. And hello, David. Yes, indeed I am. Basically the Boston area, just south of Boston. In Hingham. And then, hey, Joe, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I absolutely will. I absolutely do. And I absolutely did recently. We actually had Franks and Beans. You guys remember that movie? We had that for lunch. I like to put a little bit of Gulden's mustard, actually, in my beans when I put the chopped up hot dogs in there. So, yeah, pretty sophisticated evening, pretty sophisticated afternoon. It's the people that predict the weather, and by that I mean absolutely predict it. I swear they don't use computers here like they do in, I don't know, the rest of the world to simulate weather and saying, oh, yeah, this is going to happen at this time, and you know what. And but I'll tell you what, talk about a job that you can get paid to and be totally, you don't even have to be accountable. Because if you make the wrong prediction, you can just be like, oh, well, you know, I'm a meteorologist. Which, if you don't know, I learned this when I was in broadcasting. When I was in TV, more TV than radio, or at least we had a TV radio combo. That a meteorologist is, you don't like get a degree in meteorology. Basically, you become a meteorologist after you've basically talked about the weather for a certain amount of time. I don't know what that is. And you could argue that, well, yeah, but you don't become a registered certified massage therapist until you do 1,500 hours of massage. So arguably, I mean, there's something to be said for that, right? But anyway, there's not necessarily any training, whereas one could argue that for massage therapy, there actually is some training that you need to go through, and then you need to do the whole 1,500 hours thing. Anyway, yeah, so Curtis is in, so you're in Thailand. Whereabouts? Just out of curiosity. It doesn't really matter. Gracie and I have a condo in Bangkok, and then, of course, we travel throughout Thailand. You going to have beef and beans tonight? Nice, dude. Good work. We haven't been eating a whole lot of beef, like, just in general for, like, the last several years, and so I'm not going to add that to the diet tonight. I think we may do salad. Gracie says we have leftovers. I love leftovers, especially when they're ones that were initially made by her. Let me stop sharing my screen, and then we'll do this. Now, the other nice thing too about StreamYard, while they don't have sort of layering, really. I mean, again, this is a layer, right? Like this logo, and then the comments over here are a layer, and then if I remove the comments, then this thing is a layer, and I can also go up to here, and I have a scroll at the bottom, right, and ticker. And that is, and if you're thirsty, by the way, buy me a smoothie, won't you? No, actually, don't bother doing that because it's not a very user-friendly platform. If for no other reason than, like, I get the message that someone has given me a donation, right? But when I reply to them, even if I reply to them within the buy me a coffee is basically the underlying platform. So, but when I do that, it doesn't go to them, and I dislike that. So there's no two-way communication. So I basically can't thank you, and so forget it. Don't do that. But if you are in Bangkok, actually, Curtis, I highly encourage you to go to my buddy's business, which has outstanding juice, and they deliver it right to your door. LifestyleJuicer.com. His name is Jamie. He's the CEO, and he's a wonderful, wonderful dude. So there's that scroll. And then, of course, all this blue I can change to pink and red and that sort of thing. I can change it to this, and then I have a different logo, right, if I want to be doing. And then, of course, I could just do generic live streaming. I can change the font-ish and background display of all of this and just make it, sort of basic or even more basic, just black and white. And then this is what they refer to as the classic, and this is the bubble. I suppose block or bubble, and then I don't need to show if I had a guest, then I would show basically the name that they give themselves, and then I can change logos and that sort of thing if I want to here, and then I could go crazy pink with bkk.fm as I should, or in fact if I was going where wcoz.fm back in Boston, then I can change the logo that way. So that's kind of good. And let me go back. I see it just a Chumpon. Oh, cool. Hey, so the first time I went down to Chumpon was in 2020 in the fall, about 2 months, I think, after Air Asia came out with their first Air Asia pass, where they were like, oh, my God, we can't fly in and out of Thailand, so let's give these people something. Let's give the people what they want. So they came up with these Air Asia, with one of their first sort of, big deals. They've had ASEAN passes before, but the Air Asia pass allowed for unlimited, effectively, travel within Thailand, then you pay the taxes. So they labeled it as free because effectively the cost to them is, the money that you're giving them after you pay for this pass was free. So Dave, if you know Dave, who's from the YouTube channel Gotta Love Thailand, he and I cruised on to Chumpon, and so we checked that out too, and did a little bit of biking down there. It was kind of nice. I know it's a hopping off point, right, for potentially taking the ferries over to Koh Tao, right? And I guess you can also get over to, I mean, technically, I suppose you can get over to Koh Samui from there, but obviously it's a lot easier to just go down to, oh my God, Suratani. Jesus, I almost forgot the name of it. So that's kind of cool. And then, again, if I was paying a little bit more money, then this StreamYard thingy wouldn't be there. But for the most, and then I could stream to multiple platforms. So right now I'm streaming to Facebook and YouTube. And I believe I can do one more. Is that right? Can I add another? Let me see if I can. Maybe I can do 3, but not 4. So right now I'm adding. So right now I'm broadcasting on the bkk.fm channel on YouTube. But let's see if I want to add one more. Then, yeah. So if I want to stream to more platforms, then it's going to cost more money. Okay, so now I'm back. So what I just did, actually, is I clicked, and this is a kind of a drag that they did this. So I was going to add a 4th streaming solution, right? And let me remove bkk.fm. There's no need for me to, I'll leave it there, but I'll leave it on YouTube, but I'll delete the streaming to it. So right now I'm just streaming to live my ass off on YouTube and my own personal Facebook page. So what happened was they said, well, hey, if you want to stream to a 4 or more simultaneous multicast solution, dude, then you're going to, hey, Joe, good to see you, buddy. Thank you for coming over on this platform. I assume it's working equally as well over there, hopefully. Then you click here to see what you have available. And in doing so, then it removed me from the screen I was on. And what I'm going to do now is I'm actually go to my channel, and then I'm going to go to this video, and I'm going to go back a little bit, and yeah. So the experience was probably what you guys had, which is when I one more, then yeah. So if I want to stream to more platforms, then it's going to cost more money. Yeah, so right when I did that, right, I clicked on the, hey, let's look at the other things that are available to you, which then went over there, and I realized I was not continuously on the screen. It didn't open up. Okay, so now I'm back. Yeah. So what I just did, and so that's what I'm describing. And so there's a good and bad to that. The first is that it didn't drop the stream. StreamYard holds on to that. And trust me, I've closed the browser window before in the past. And one could argue that, so I'm quite certain there are people that are like, dude, this is precisely the reason I don't use in-browser live video streaming solutions, because if I accidentally close the thing, then it goes away. And again, you can say, do you really want to close this tab? You could have that set up too, right? And then, people could say, well, yeah, I mean, that's why I use OBS. That's why I use Polypop. That's why I use, vMix or whatever. And people could say, well, what if you close that software? Just like, right? But, usually if you close out, oh, you sure you want to close, right? So most of that's sort of the default setting. So one could argue that is the save your bacon feature, which isn't necessarily available here. The nice thing, though, is that when I did go away, again, it still keeps going and going and going. It's the Energizer Bunny of software. All right, so what else do I have going on here? In the various brands, right? So I have my logo that I can choose up here. Pardon me. Excuse me. And oh, and then, and so they have overlays. So basically, if you want to do layers, if you will, in StreamYard, then you can use these overlays. And this is just an example. This is the generic one that they give you. Let me turn off everything else, and you guys can see what I'm talking about. So if I get rid of the ticker, and I get rid of the comments, and what else? If I get rid of, if I get rid of my name, yeah. So then, and then if I were to remove the logo. So basically, with the exception of the StreamYard word in the upper right-hand corner, depending upon how you're looking at this, whether you're watching me in a mirror or not, then that is the sort of overlay that you're going to get right there. And that's the one that sort of comes with it. On YouTube, actually, you will see my logo, the channel logo in the lower right-hand corner, and that's simply the watermark that you put on your videos that comes with, basically comes with YouTube as the default setting. Put my watermark on every video I do. I don't use those. People make use of these overlays all the time, and they make ones, and they get ones made on Fiverr, and they have, images in them, and they have, borders and certain windows, and they make ones with a sort of a video opening on either side, and then they use that to basically overlay or underlay, quite frankly. Or no, it's an overlay. Of two guests, if they have two guests, so if they're in sort of like, split screen mode or something like this, then they can overlay that, and it looks pretty professional. The other nice thing too, and if I turn this on, then my audio will go away, and I will just be showing this video. That's my lovely wife, Gracie, and her meter of hair. Is the countdowns, or the generic version the generic answer is video clips, and a lot of people will use those at the beginning of a video as a countdown, and I will show you that right now in 3, 2. What you may not have heard, and I can actually verify this on the live stream, and I can actually verify this on the generic version. The generic version is the generic answer is video clips, and a lot of people will use those at the beginning of a video as a countdown, and I will show you that right now in 3, 2. This on the generic version. All right, cool. So and then you could literally upload any video, right? And then you could use that. A lot of people use those again before they go live. They play that thing, or they use it within their show. So, for example, if all of a sudden I wanted to be like, hey, I'm doing this thing on another channel, check this out. Then that would just be like some video that I would play, right? So anyway, you can do that. And depending upon how much you pay them, you can have video clips that are massive or short. For me, for what I pay, the maximum video length I can do is 10 minutes, provided the silly thing is less than 200 megabytes, which is not a very long video. So there's some background music that I can throw on, for example, which is, how you doing, boo? Which is, well, I'll play it now. Right? So there's that. And this is the infamous, copyright-free kind of stuff. And I've got I've got the loop connected. So that's kind of a new feature that they added. And you can vary the volume of it. So that's muted. That's like 15 out of 100. That's 100. Right? So anyway, so that's kind of a neat feature, I guess, if you're doing some degree of something like what's this? This is a space, and you could add music. I'm not really sure, if you can. So if I can add music, let's do this. Let me add something that is near and dear to my heart, which of course is this one right here. If I were to add this. And then play this. This might sound kind of neat to you guys. Let's do it really, really loud.
This is BKK.FM. Bangkok. This is BKK.FM.
You can put it on loop and do that, right? So that's kind of cool. I don't know if I uploaded a Pink song or something like that, if I could, constantly review that or constantly repeat that. I'm actually curious whether that played because I didn't have standby. I'm only hearing audio. Oh, so that's interesting. So I noticed that the audio that I play, like if I upload it and I play it back, I noticed that it doesn't match my video. So they're playing that audio in the background, and it's actually delayed from the video. So that's a little bit frustrating. Because what I saw is me lip syncing my guy's voice, but what ended up apparently live on YouTube was not that. So, don't know if I'm a huge fan of. It's definitely background music. It is not music that you could play and like actually have some degree of reaction to it. Should be recommending Prism Live Studio. It's better. Stand by. Let me. I tell you what. Let me do this. Let me have a look at that. PRISM Live Studio. Is it in browser? PrismLive.com. Live broadcasting made easy. Download now. So I have no doubt that it's pretty cool, but the requirement for me in doing all of this is to have an in-browser solution, and that's for a number of reasons, not the least of which is I'm a fan of the cloud, but I'm also a big fan of Chromebooks, and they're lightweight, very tiny, incredibly inexpensive, and I can fit them in the... oh, really? Okay, so hold on. So, well, first of all, thank you, Mariano, for coming by. Hello from Facebook. First time, Smoothie Alarm, hello. But really, okay, so hold on. Let me go back and let me see what that looked like on... how do I... Oh, that's weird. I can't get the... Where's this silly... I can see like the pause and the play button on my desktop for Facebook, but unlike on my mobile, you can pause it and then you can slide that thing for... I don't get that option in over here. So anyway, so that's fine. But that's good to know. Thank you very much. So yeah, so Prism is basically, I would, if I was looking for something like, if I was going for something that is on the desktop, then yes, Prism Live, OBS, Polypop, vMix, all those solutions are dynamite, right? But you got to have either a Mac or a Windows desktop, which, in fact, I do. I have a Windows laptop. That's what we're using with this. The next sort of step after I test all these in-browser solutions is then going to be testing these in-browser solutions on a Chromebook that has very limited horsepower. But again, fits in a Honda Click that I can rent, right? So thank you for welcoming the cool kids to the Cool Kids Table Show. New York hot dogs. He probably doesn't have a lot of New York hot dogs. I just had a hot dog, actually. I had a Fenway, I had a ballpark Frank there, which was good with some beans. Mike, next task is to highlight any Boston cake and confections that Gracie likes. Good question. She's not a fan of sweets in general. Like, I mean, getting a Dunkin' Donut here, and just let's be clear, the Dunkin' Donuts here are superior to the Dunkin' Donuts that are made at the Dunkin' Donuts in the Philippines and in Thailand. They just use some sort of lame sauce that they put in the mixture over there in Southeast Asia, whereas here there is a significant amount of high fructose corn syrup, which, as you know, I'm a big fan of. But that's good to know. I'll review that later on Facebook. Thank you for Mariana, and thank you so much for coming by. 2 p.m. here, so I'm going to go with, 7 p.m. in Germany? Maybe 8. I'm on the East Coast here, so I think you're like +5? Can't remember. Dr. Clay, how are you, Brian? Good to see you. Hi, Mike. Good to see you as well. Glad you've taken the missus to experience your homeland. All the best. I have a question. What tie bank do you use? Getting the ducks in a row now. Waiting is hard, but I'm strong. So let me tell you something wonderful about Brian. And he is going to be, we basically have been saving a chair for him at the Cool Kids Table. Let's just say that, guys. Brian reached out to me a while ago, and he and I have been chatting about, Thailand in general, and I've been honored to be able to hopefully add some value to his process of coming over here, which I'm happy to do for any of you, quite frankly. As I mentioned on the interview with Robbie recently, if for no other reason than there's way too much incorrect data about the kind of visas you get and other requirements you have needed to get it and what applies and, that sort of thing. So, anyway. So Curtis, what time? Yeah, it is late over there, right? It's late for you, old fry. Well, Curtis, pleasure. Thank you for coming by. I hope to make it down to Chumphon, and if you ever make it up to Bangkok, ping me, and I will do the same if I'm ever down a little bit further south. So the short answer is I use Casacorn and I use Bangkok Bank. Casacorn Bank was the first bank account I opened. I think I opened it after I had been in Thailand. Well, I know it was on my first trip, and I want to say it was definitely less than 2 weeks in country. The first 4 days, I believe, I was in Thailand. I was in Bangkok. And then after that, I cruised down to Pattaya, and I went to a meeting, met some buddies, and there was this wonderful guy, Ben. And you probably run into these guys, right? Like, you come into a town, and you meet someone or whatever, and they are just thrilled to show you everything. Like, he's like, okay, Mike, here's how you take a bot bus. And I'm like, what is a bot? What is a bot bus? And he's like, 10, because if you never did it before, right? So you get a 10-baht coin, you do this, you push this buzzer, or you basically just take your hand and you wave it like this, and the bot bus driver will stop, and you get in the back of this pickup truck. So all that sort of stuff. So then we go over to the mall, and I'm like, well, I guess I should open a bank account. Like, I'm definitely, like, I knew then. I knew very soon after landing in Thailand that I'm, A, coming back here, B, going to live here somehow with some degree of permanence for some point in my future. So I opened up an account at Cancellation. Now, at the time, this was about 2012. It hadn't been, I don't think it was New Year's yet. Yeah, so it's 2012, meaning that it wasn't 2013 yet. And I wasn't there for on my third or fourth week. So we go, and you know how like they have the malls here have banks in them, right? They have like a whole sort of floor of telco wireless providers, and they have a whole floor of banks, right? So we go up to the bank floor in Central Festival. And I go into Cancellation just because literally it was at the top of the escalator, and it was green, and it was cool looking. So I went in, and they, I was there on a tourist visa, but I was there with my friend Ben, who was actually a permanent resident. And that was at the time where Ben was like, oh, no, he's definitely going to stay here, don't worry. And which was totally true and has been. But nonetheless, now there's a significant amount of extra paperwork that you need versus your buddy Ben saying, oh, yeah, no, trust Mike, he's cool. And, so then I got my bank account in at Cancellation. They gave me the ATM card and all that sort of thing, and I was good to go. Like literally, definitely less than 2 hours after that. Put a few 1,000 baht in or something like that. Set it up online. Was able to use the ATMs and so forth. Transfer money, worked out great. I then opened up a Bangkok bank account, also in basically that area. I opened it up at the Bangkok bank branch in Jom Tien. So to your answer, the Thai bank I use is Cancellation. It's also the Thai bank I recommend. I do not recommend Bangkok Bank. Not that they're going to like set fire to your currency or you're going to lose your money. It's just that they have these silly rules, and it's one of the very few banks that has this meaning that like to do any sort of significant banking to your account, you have to go back to the original branch, which is ridiculous. Like, in other words, my ATM card expired. They won't send me a new one, right? I have to, like, go to and I said, no, forget it. I'm not driving down there. So I go to the local one, and they help me use my QR code on my phone to use it. But at the bottom line is Cancellation Bank is my absolute go-to. Totally recommended. The business that I'm a part of, we also have Cancellation Bank as our default bank account. We have others, too, for transfer. The main reason at the time that I opened up my Bangkok bank account was because they had a remittance station, if you will, meaning they had a branch physically in New York, and that allowed them to have basically a U.S. bank account number that was also attached to, and which is as a patron, you got a U.S. bank account number as well as your Thailand bank account, and then you were able to have the ACH, the Automated Clearinghouse prefix, right, routing number, basically, so therefore U.S. money could go from bank to bank. And a lot of times when you move money via ACH in the United States from U.S. bank to U.S. bank, it can be free, or it's $3 or $5, or it's cheap, or you could do it immediately for like $25 or whatever. But that is an antiquated system, big time, and so I used that, I think, twice, and then moved. I had U.S. money, and that's the other thing, too, is a second currency account. So I had U.S. currency in Bangkok Bank, as well as the same account, but also had Thai currency. And you can move them back and forth if you're really sexy and, maybe make some money on the Forex, right? But after Gracie and I had lived in permanently in Cha Am for probably 2 weeks, I said, this is ridiculous. I've got like I was like $1,000, right? So it's like 30,000 baht basically, but I had $1,000 in my U.S. account. Never used it. It just sat there, and I had to have 1,000 or something like that. That was the minimum. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. I'm never gonna. I live in Thailand now. I spend baht. So I went in, and gratefully, the Bangkok Bank in Cha Am was nice enough to do all the paperwork, send it to the Bangkok Bank in Jomtien, closed that account, and actually they gave me the money right away. They gave me the current exchange rate, which was, again, about 30 to 1. They gave me like 30,000 baht. Or either they gave it to me, or I think what they did is they transferred it into my Thai baht account. So I now have Bangkok Bank and I have Capricorn. Bangkok Bank I use as one of these like auto debit type things. So for example, I just keep like money goes into my Bangkok Bank account and then it automatically goes out. So I automatically pay my rent with that account. I automatically pay several other things. And so I literally keep throwing like 30,000 baht in and then 30,000 baht goes out. 30,000 in. So I just use it like for transactions like that. Capricorn I use every single day, all day, when I'm in Thailand. And it's also, the other nice thing, too, is that the app in it is a little bit more robust and a little bit more ease of features. For the most part, at the end of the day, they all have the same amount of features. But so, in fact, I just recently, and I need to do it today, I just recently paid like our electric bill and our water bill, I think. Actually, no, I would... Anyway, I use Capricorn to pay stuff like that. I do it online. I do it on the app, and it's just like next, finish. If you guys know anything about BTS and you know anything about what a rabbit card is, it's basically just an RFID card that, for the most part, most people will get it when they start using the BTS more regularly. You can use that card to pay for many things. You can use it at McDonald's. You can use it as a whole bunch of places to pay for things. And I have that connected to my Capricorn Bank as well. So therefore, anything I sort of, so it's like having an ATM card with no PIN, right? But you have it on you, and there's a finite amount of money that you can ever take out of it. And for the most part, you can't get cash out of it. You can just buy stuff, right? So anyway, that's my my long answer to a very short question, which of course is my standard. Late there. So get a good night's sleep, Curtis. Enjoy Chimpon. Only a couple weeks, and we can have a live video together, Cool Kids Table, for the win, my friend. Absolutely, Mariano. I'm totally stoked. You are, you're going to be there like 1 week before Gracie and I get back to Bangkok, I think. And if I'm not mistaken, let's see. KL, right? KL is going to be sort of your home base. So Kuala Lumpur, and then you're going to be cruising up to Bangkok every single second that you have free time. What about your girlfriend, man? Is she coming over? Because I know that, you can get in and out of Vietnam now, too. I don't know if you guys saw did we do a video? Maybe we just uploaded a selfie. I don't even remember, but I got to meet Jason from Asia Unscripted. He came over to Bangkok, literally, basically for the day, from Vietnam to go to the Apple store to buy a new iPhone because it was cheaper for him to fly to Thailand, buy the iPhone, stay in a hotel one night, have some, various food, and then fly back than it would have been to buy that iPhone in Vietnam. So he did that. And so my point is that I know for a fact that getting in and out of Thailand and in and out of Vietnam is quite easy. So you may be lucking out really soon, too, Mariano. I'm sure that's one of the reasons that you're moving closer. Good job, dude. That's awesome. Fry and refried foods adds more butter. What's Mike's take on that? I don't know. I don't really think about it, quite frankly. I probably, I like salad, but I don't spend a whole lot of attention units on, I should and one thing I don't bother doing, I don't even know. Maybe I'm just completely naive to this, but I go into the store and there's like the regular fruit and vegetables that we've been eating for, say, the last 100 years and not dying. And then there's the other stuff that's basically 30 to 50% more, and it's labeled organic, and it's apparently better for you. I don't believe it tastes better. It may be better for you. I don't know, but I don't bother. I think organic food is a total joke. It's basically like buying, cholesterol-free styrofoam. It's like, well, right? They just like they sell it. I think it's just like one of these buzzwords, like gluten-free. Like that. Like I have a gluten-free mouse, and I feel really happy about that. But again, I know that those are things that affect other people. There are people like, Mike, don't be such a jerk, man. If I ingest gluten, then basically I get, like sores and I fall over and I throw up and I hate it and I can't. Okay, great, awesome. But these people are just like, well, I haven't been going to the gym much lately. So basically I'm going to go gluten-free. And then what? I'm going to go, it's like me saying, well, I'm going to eat only a dozen donuts, but I'm drinking Diet Coke, so I'm good, in my opinion. So that's Mike's nutritional advice. How's that? I'm going to run in the Boston Marathon. No, I outsourced that, actually. Additionally, I realized that around the time that the Boston Marathon was starting, because if you don't know, it's one of the oldest marathons in the world. Of course, not like the one in, forgive me if I'm wrong, Greece, which is where marathons started, which is why they're 26.2 miles. Is that right? Can't remember. But regardless, around the same time, public transportation was invented. People learned about the wheel. And then our buddy, Gottlieb Daimler, basically, and Carl Benz got together, and they started making automobiles. And then some crazy guy from America said, you know, I can probably make them all the same color really, really fast if I'd use slave labor, because, of course, that's how the United States was started. He then cornered the market on the Ford automobile. So I realized that you don't need to run, actually, to get 26.2 miles. There's a number of other ways to do it, and I afford myself of them. What is a bus? Well, so as it turns out, it's a big urban statue. That's what bus stands for, if you don't know. But I like to throw myself, as well as very, very good friends that I love dearly, underneath one. So cheers to you as well. When are you heading over there, Steph? I haven't consumed a lot of YouTube lately, and so unfortunately that puts Steph Traveler's channel into that list. And so I know that he had been doing videos and very lengthy live streams, actually, about Thailand and stuff, which is really cool. But I don't know whether he's been up to that, and I don't know his schedule. Anyway, Steph, Gracie and I are back there basically mid-September, so please do ping me if you come around. It'd be good to hang out and meet you face-to-face finally. Have you been to Krabby Beaches? Have to be careful. Is there some inside joke, Joe, that I'm missing at that one or whatever? But, yeah, I think you know that I've been to Krabby. The beaches there are okay. They were okay when I was there, which was basically during COVID, and I had them all to myself. So that was kind of nice. But how about your peso stash? What, banking-wise? Just Gracie's in charge of that, and she can do pretty much whatever she wants with it. Oh, she's coming over to Kuala Lumpur. That's right. Yeah, fairly easy to get in and out of there, right, with a Vietnamese passport. Regardless, I'm not going to get into your personal life, but the bottom line is, thank goodness you're going to be with your girlfriend, because I actually know how it feels to not be with the one you love for approximately 368 days. I don't recommend it. Not that I was counting. 2 live streams in one day. We're spoiled. Well, Patrick, let me tell you right now, this is actually my third one, technically, but I deleted the second one because... So I got this comment. Maybe you guys can help me on this one. I got this comment from a great guy, by the way, Suburban Beard. He's totally awesome. I love giving him a hard time. He lives in Cleveland. So, I mean, don't hold that against him, right? But, of course, every morning he wakes up in Cleveland. So, have some empathy. But... he has an amazing channel, it's Suburban Beard. It's not just my pet name for him. That's actually his YouTube channel, Suburban Beard. Check it out. It's on YouTube. No big whoop. Look him up. And he does these deals where he basically goes into, like, dollar stores, and he's, he buys things at dollar stores for less than $1. I know, right? Although looking at him, you'd be like, they have razors for less than $1. So just throwing it out there, facial face. But he made a comment, and I will actually quote him because I've been really trying to make sure that I ingest this correctly, and I've tried everything I can to see how to do it. YouTube lets you bring in guests. Now, my stream, if we were back to Patrick's comment about 2 live streams in one day, this is the second one. The first one I did in YouTube Studio live stream control room. I actually believe it's called live control room. I apologize. And on the left, if you've ever seen it, there's 3 icons. And the top one is like live stream, which is the screen you get, and they give you the RTMP key and stuff. And that was basically what you would squirt, your OBS or whatever to. The second icon is webcam, which means you go live in the browser, like I'm doing right now, and you use YouTube to do that. And with that, you don't get things that I was describing earlier, like you can't overlay comments, you don't get the ability to like put your logo, or you can't brand yourself like that or something like this, right? I'll tell you what, let's throw COZ up there. And you can't bring in guests like I can with StreamYard. And his comment was, YouTube lets you bring in guests. I am completely ignorant on how to do that. If any of you can help me, I've naturally typed in YouTube, bring in guests, YouTube live studio, bring in guests. And of course, the results I get in YouTube are how to stream live in OBS, how to stream live and bring in guests in StreamYard, how to stream live and bring in guests in Restream It. All of these basically, solutions that aren't what I'm looking for. But please help me, teach me. How in the world do you bring in guests inside of YouTube? Live control room. Oh, my God, help me. Well, there's been an Alaska stopover to experience snow for Gracie. Yeah, so the reality is that at some point in probably the next 5 to 10 years, probably even earlier, Gracie and I will be back here for a little bit more of a permanent amount of time, spending more time with my folks. And I'm quite certain that will not be conveniently in June, July, August, when it is nice and hot and nice and humid here, which is exactly like I like it. In fact, the weather we've been having for the last 3 or 4 days is the weather we have in Bangkok every single day that ends in Y. And so I'm sitting here, right? I'm watching the news, and of course, the news is like, anything tragic, basically, any disappointment. They believe, oh my God, we got to air this. Some person like actually does some good, or like graduates from college or something. I tell you what, but these people that just got mauled by a bear, my God, that's relevant to Boston living. So anyway, one of the things that they were showing is how because of this heat wave, all the power is going off, right? Because apparently the grid can't handle it. And I'm thinking, and the other thing, well, conserve power, the power is going to go out, whatever. I'm like, why did the power go out? Oh, my God, so many people are using their air conditioners. Well, you want to know how many people in Bangkok, in Thailand, in any basically country that is south of latitude 20? Every person uses air conditioning. They leave it on as much as they possibly can afford, quite frankly, and the power doesn't go off. Like, we're using both air conditioners in our condo. There are approximately 700 units in our condo, and I would submit at least 50% of them always have the air conditioners running, like, during the day, as we do, especially on Sunday, where basically every single person is home. And when Gracie, like, turns on the microwave or turns on her hairdryer or something, the whole grid doesn't go offline. I mean, they've figured out how to keep, alternating current flowing, even if the ambient temperature is north of 100 degrees Fahrenheit, or basically even 45 degrees Celsius, which I've experienced in Bangkok. But man, anyway, so over here, it's like it gets too hot and people freak out. But what's sad, too, is that, like, when there's a storm, right, and the power lines ice up, and then, like, something hits them and they break and they fall down, like, oh, yeah, the power went up. Well, it just got too cold. It's like, well, why don't you design this crap because you guys kind of knew the temperature fluctuation. Overall in New England since about 1620 when you landed here. After about 1621, you were like, I get it. So it's an annual cycle of changing temperatures. So we should probably plan accordingly. So that by the time electricity was invented, you were like, wait, no. I got it. I know. So in September, this is going to be great. Everything that I've designed is going to work. But it's going to get cold in 3 months. So maybe I should design this for the future, and then, of course, if you have something that's telco grade, right, then it can handle an ambient temperature of 45, or it can handle an operating temperature of 45 degrees Celsius. But who knows all of this and is understanding my sarcasm and is just woe is meing all day long is my buddy Chip. Hello, Beef Jerky. Beef Jerky. Hey, now, you're an all-star. Get your game on. When do you take Gracie to 5 Island, Maine, close to Highway 127, to the best lobster roll? So, yeah, I mean, like, the priority, the priority of coming back to the United States was to see my parents after not seeing them for almost 3 years. The next priority is to basically make sure my parents have everything they possibly can, which is our assistance in doing various things that they simply can't do. And to be fair, like, there are things that I can't do that Gracie does. It's called making food to consume. I don't do that. I reheat things, but she actually creates things, and we refer to that traditionally as dinner. So she's able to do that. So anyway, okay, hold on. I'm gonna get to that comment in a second, Steph. But so driving to Maine and even driving kind of like further away. I've got some places in northeastern Massachusetts that I really want to check out. They're great, as well as like south. Like on. I almost said on Nut. That's not right, but on something Onset. I think it's Onset Beach is the name of it. Down towards Sandwich, if you know the topology or the geography of Massachusetts. Anyway, it's very nice down there. But it's one of those deals where it's like, I don't really know if I want to leave, for the whole day. We'll stick around here and do some stuff. So pretty easy to give the StreamYard link you're in now. No, I get that. I get how you go live and invite guests into StreamYard. And again, that's one of the reasons that I'm testing all these various in-browser platforms, because StreamYard, obviously, one could argue, is the next step up from simply using the YouTube thing. But again, if I'm in YouTube live control room, and that's all I'm using, like before StreamYard existed, before there was Restream, before there was Melon, before there was EV Mux, before there was Shuffle. There was only the YouTube live control room, and in fact, you couldn't even use your webcam in it. You only had to encode externally when you first were able to go live with YouTube. No, Canada stop over to. Yeah, so that probably won't. I know that won't happen actually, because the amount of time that it would take us to apply for and if we were lucky, get Gracie's visitor visa, because of course I'm a Canadian citizen and we're married, it would be a lot easier, and I'm quite confident that we could prove to them, hey, we're leaving, so don't worry about it. Would have been about the time we were leaving. So that is just sort of the way it worked. That has been the case for a number of scenarios, not the least of which is getting her a green card, because if you get one of those and you basically aren't physically here to go through the whole thing, then they kind of shy against. They're not big fans of that. They're like, look at it, if you're going to get permanent residency, which is the green card, right? Permanent resident, or actually it's permanent residency. Then they kind of expect you to live here, and you can fill out a form, 135 or something, which basically says, hey, look, here's the deal. I got to go outside of the United States, but I want my application to not be voided, and I promise I'll be back. And if they approve that, then you actually have 2 years of window to be able to come back to the United States to kind of get through the process and then get your green card. But again, it's not like it's a tourist visa that she has now, where it's like, look, dude, you can come in and out as many times as you want. Feel free to stay 6 months, and you're a tourist. Go for it, and it's good for 10 years. So the next hop up for that is the permanent residency card, which, as you apply for your permanent residency, your green card in the United States, if you don't know, it's a very simple checkbox. Yes, I would like a Social Security number. And I desperately want Gracie to be able to get a Social Security number so that, therefore, when I die, she can get all my Social Security benefits, basically for the rest of her life, provided we live here for 10 years. That's the data that I receive. I've had people tell me, oh, no. Once you're married, it's no big deal. Like, you die, she's going to get your Social Security benefits for the rest of her life, whether you live there or not. And I do not have corroborating data to that. So please, if you are have some degree of legal prowess, and you can prove to me that my belief that we need to physically live here 10 years is completely incorrect, please show that to me, and then instruct me on what to do next. Because the next step of that would be to get her permanent residency and get her a Social Security number. And again, what I spent hours reading was that if you don't stick around here, then you're not really eligible. And so that's the story on Canada, as well as a little bit of an aside to our green card. I hate it when I get called, yeah, dude. I mean, even in Florida, Joe, right? Even in Florida, dude. Not so much on your side, but man, I mean, I've been in Daytona in March where it's like, oh yeah, we'll head down there. Let's drive through because it's March, it's spring break. It's going to be really, oh my God, it's freezing cold, meaning it was 60. And I am not a fan of anything below 70. And surprise visits from old friends. So here's what's great about Missy. So Missy and I grew up together. Missy lived literally she was literally the girl next door. And I had forgotten about. So the short answer is the reason she posts that is she swung by the house the other day because she's out here visiting her mom, and then she's going to go back to. Let's see. Hold on. Today is Monday. You are potentially back in Oregon already, right? Anyway, So she came by and said, and one of the first things that she described to Gracie was, because she lived next door, is that we used to have 2 tin cans and we had a string, and it went basically from this tree that's sort of at the end of my property line over to her, I believe her bedroom window. If not, it was one of the windows like up in the second floor. And we used to use that to communicate, and of course it worked. Because I'm an engineer. No, it worked because that's what you used back then. So every kid knew how to do 2, cans with string, right? And that was so neat. I completely spaced about that. So I will tell you that, when you get old friends that come by and remind you of stuff that you forgot about and vice versa, it is a joy. Absolutely joy. Good morning, Rike. How you doing, buddy? Welcome to Monday Morning Mics. It is now, as far as I know. Oh, no, it's, what is it? It's only 11:15 in California. So I'm still doing the morning show over there where Rike is hanging out with Mom Velez. Good to see you, buddy. Miss you, man. Miss you big time. Stoked to catch up finally. If you guys don't know this, so I've known Rike for a long time, and we connected through his YouTube channel, effectively, and then connected, and then reconnected, and then kind of stayed in touch, and we kind of share our brain on a number of topics, which is nice and refreshing. But one of the interesting things is, so I move over to Thailand. And Gracie and I are like, great, we're going to live in Thailand and we're going to live in the Philippines. We're going to travel all over. Great. And so Rike, he's over in the Philippines, right? And so we're like, okay, great. I tell you what, let's do this. And then we're talking, like 3 months ahead of time. So this is like December of 2019. We're like, I tell you what, let's plan this way ahead of time. We got plenty of time to plan. It's going to be super easy. In around March of 2020, and you guys know probably where this is going, let's get together. Gracie and I are coming over. We'll meet you in Cebu, and we'll go over to this island, which is one of the Camotes Islands, which actually is not the Camotes Islands. It's called something different. I can't remember what it's called. So I rent this Airbnb, and I get this other bungalow, and Gracie and I are all excited. We're going to fly in there. We're going to bring Eurice. We're going to rent motorbikes. We're going to cruise over there. Rike is going to come down. He's going to come down with his then-girlfriend, and we're going to go over to these islands. We're going to hang out there for like a week and a half. We're going to have this amazing time, and COVID. So, I mean, so there you go. I mean, so I don't anticipate seeing him probably until likely 2023. So, I mean, our plans got delayed about 3 years. So, thanks a lot, all you COVID-idiots. Ooh, they're living off of TV micro dinners and Jell-O. Now, that's why I don't cook, Bodo. We live off of Gracie's food. Please bring over Mexican pesos you have to Bangkok. Yeah, they're worth so much now. When I first started going down to Mexico, I bought this car, and I was looking at the receipt recently, and it was like, oh, God, when was it? It was probably, it was 2003. I know exactly when it was, because it was a 2003 Volkswagen Bug, like the Beetle, like the old style. 2003 was the last year that Volkswagen globally produced that style, the old Beetle-looking style. I bought that brand new from Volkswagen of Tijuana, put it on my credit card, and at the time, the exchange rate was 8.9 to 1. 8.9 pesos to $1. And right now, I think it's like about 20. So anything you bought several years ago is worth about a half of what it used to be. Take Gracie to Fenway Park. It's a life-changing experience. So I grew up going there and seeing the Green Monster, which was Wicked Pissa, right by the Sicko sign there. And having a Fenway Frank and watching my Bo Sox basically win. No matter what. They always won. No matter what the score, Michael, they won. The Red Sox will always win, especially if after going to Fenway, you go over to Boylston Street, and then you go to the channel, and you listen to BCN or COZ. Oh, it's like butter. That was Boston. And Fenway Park is very cool. The area around it is very nice. It's gotten, what is it, gentrified or something, right? It looks a lot better. And so the last time I was there for a Red Sox game was back when I was doing the user group. So basically I'm going to go with like 2015, 2016. And it was okay, but basically at the end of the day, it was like you enter and you kind of get an old sort of nostalgic feel of it and that sort of thing. But basically, once you get into the seats and you're looking at, with the exception of course, the big green wall, the Green Monster, it's pretty much like any other baseball stadium. So that was my experience, and I had been there then, and then I had actually been there about a year later. And so I don't think Gracie's a big fan of baseball, but I agree. It's a neat thing in Boston for sure. If you start a vid via the YouTube room, via OBS Streamlabs. You can open up a StreamYard window inside it, externally display, turn on your mic and StreamYard. Yeah. But my requirement is basically to use the so in other words, I'm using one thing at a time. So if I use StreamYard, then I can invite guests into StreamYard. If I use, and I'm not doing any Windows installs. This is all in browser. So that was the equivalent of my desire, basically. This is what I was testing. Late fight tonight. Yep, my bedroom. Cool. Yeah, from that tree up to your bedroom. Right on. Well, hey, safe flight. The nice thing, of course, about leaving sort of later here is that you recoup the 3 hours in the air. So that's pretty nice. But hopefully, so I was supposed to actually have a meeting for 2 days, pretty much, with a guy that I'd done business with before up in Boston. So Gracie and I cruise up in Boston. We are literally seconds away from me hitting the submit button, if you will, at the registration desk to check into the hotel. And I get this email from the guy coming up from his assistant saying, oh, no, he can't make it. He's not coming to Boston this week. And this was Tuesday, and the meeting was basically scheduled for Wednesday morning. And so, the fact that she sent it to me on Tuesday and saying he's not going to be there this week, well, arguably you probably could have told me that Monday. But my belief is, and the reason I bring this up, is not that they were trying to, make my life inconvenient. But probably what happened is, because he travels a lot for work, is he probably was scheduled to travel somewhere, and it completely got thrown sideways. Because I've heard that there is just horrible delays and the mismanagement of the flights. People losing their luggage in 2022, which is ridiculous. That's kind of like, oh, yeah, I ordered something from Amazon and it didn't show up. So therefore, I don't order anything from Amazon anymore. No, I mean, it's like logistics has been solved, ladies and gentlemen, especially for items that have barcodes on them, read as your luggage. So, I mean, it offends me. They lost my luggage. Impossible. You have to be so purposefully incompetent to be able to lose luggage in an airport. Because it's designed, like the underneath part, it's like designed to move things from point A to point B. Now, arguably, some of them are quite old, and, they don't have Amazon logistics engineers to design it, and I mean, unless it's a newer airport. But it just amazes me that is happening. It amazes me that American Airlines for one, but American airline companies are still surviving amidst the level of incompetence that they execute on. Because, I mean, you fly over in Southeast Asia and you're like, wait a minute. Like, they've figured out how to do it in Japan and Singapore and China. Not all airlines, right, Rike? But, let's say for the sake of argument, the Asian, many of the Asian carriers, many of the Southeast Asian carriers, amidst their complete lack of customer service. I mean, Air Asia at least gets you from point A to point B reliably late. So, I mean, as long as you're like, oh, yeah, my flight leaves at 10, so basically we're going to get out of here about 10:30. I should arrive around 11:30, so I'll get there about noon. But they've never lost my luggage. And, yeah, once you get on the plane, the customer service is decent. They just don't have any... They don't have any ability to do anything outside of their website, and so my expectations are ridiculously low. But they have brand new planes, and they're all in good shape, and I'm really grateful that they basically, I guess, probably overpay. It's a relative term. They probably overpay their mechanics, and it seems like all of their pilots are quite competent, so I'm really happy about that. Whereas the customer service all along the way for American Airlines, for United Airlines, Delta arguably is a little bit better. Southwest Airlines is okay, and they're pretty decent. Same with JetBlue, they're okay. But overall, I mean, American carriers are really, COVIDsucks.com, actually. I'm surprised there aren't more blogs with that at the beginning. Can you finish the story for once? No, I cannot. And if you have that as a requirement, then guess what, dude? Apparently, your live streams with you consuming enormous amounts of alcohol will probably be a lot more appropriate for you. 5 years residency for a Social Security widow's benefits. Thank you very much, because that is something... non-citizen widow. All right, hold on. I need to go over to my YouTube channel. You also sent me... Oh, hey, good for you. You found him, huh? Good for you, man. That's great. Oh, no, I'm sorry. You know what I did, dude, is I scrolled to the last sort of, I guess, URL that I sent you, which was the Walmart thing for the things. Anyway, more on retirement pocket sense. All right, cool. This is very... Now, it was updated in 2017, so I'm a little gun-shy about articles that are that old. But thank you very much, and thank you for sharing it with everyone else. You know what? So because he came in on Facebook, and while you can see it in the window, excuse me, I will repost it. So basically, it should go out to all channels right now. So it should go out to YouTube, and it should go right out to the. So you think Alaska Air is fantastic? I will say that I think they're okay for sure. Again, there's the expectation, right? I mean, I'm not expecting business class service that comes with a down comforter, right? Because that is business class service in Asia, right? It comes with a down comforter, slippers, Bose noise canceling headphones. I mean, you get the whole bucket. And but the interesting thing is Alaska. It seems like Alaska was sharing a lot of real estate in airports with Southwest, or where Southwest was expanding. It seemed like the older areas Alaska Airlines was sort of gobbling up. And I would say that their customer service has gotten better over the years. I have not flown in the United States for 3 years. I've taken Alaska before, absolutely, and in fact. I just found, those plastic things they give you to put on your luggage so that you can print the luggage thingy, and then you put it in the plastic, I don't know, lanyard, sheath, whatever. You put that in, and then that's for your luggage. I just found those the other day. I can't remember what piece of luggage they were in, but anyway. I would say that they're doing a pretty good job. What's really, actually, I will say their customer service, in my experience, has not been bad. You're I'm trying to help you, Mike. No need to mock my alcohol. I didn't say you had a problem with it, dude. Clearly, you are excellent at it. I do not. I am not good at it. Let me tell you right now. I will just say this. If I could drink normally, I would drink every day, all day long. How's that? But I can't, so I had to stop, buddy. So I'll see your 3 smiles and raise you. But yeah, no, ADHD is real, and please don't mock me. I am really looking for. So if you guys don't know Steph, right? I mean, he sort of got famous, if you will, right? Doing Thailand videos. Arguably the majority of them probably in Pattaya, but then also, traveling around, and then many topics, and he brings in people, and, the way that he would, again, he had his own sort of way of doing it, which was great, but he's also an engineer. And so we sort of share the desire for correctness, I think, in a number of, but anyway, yeah, so Steph's really cool. So if you're not subscribed to his channel, check him out. Well, hello, Robert Mack in Asia. Mike, you back in the... I assume that there's a question mark at the end of that? Yes, I'm physically in Massachusetts with Gracie. And I believe... I can't remember, Robert. You delayed your trip to Thailand, if I'm not mistaken, right? Isn't that correct? Anyway, I hope wherever you are is where you want to be, Robert. And I appreciate you coming by. I think you actually came by the earlier stream. Oh, Steph, here's a question, because I know you're in, I almost said Bulgaria. Can you believe that? Jesus. Belgium. I know you're in Belgium. What time is it over there? I mean, because, see, here's the thing, Steph. If there was only a global information network, I mean, at the ready, that I could just jump on and find out the actual time zone that Belgium is in, boy, oh boy, would I be populated with information. Let's see. Time in Belgium. What if that was only a possibility? If all I had to do is type... What if all I had to do is type that into a microphone with my mouth? 8:25 p.m., ladies and gentlemen, 35 minutes before the hour of 9 o'clock in Belgium. And Steph, in 3, 2... So here's what's funny. I type in time in Belgium, and I get it, of course, because it's Google, 8:25 p.m. And the first one is, you know how the Google will give you sort of other suggestions, like, well, if you're asking this question, maybe this question will be of interest to you. The first question that shows up, is Belgium a rich country? So people just did, I don't know. Belgium, actually, if you don't know, is ranked 20th in the world as far as GDP, 55,000 per person, approximately $55,000 per person. And where is the U.S. in that? I mean, I know this is like, plus or minus. It's not exact, but the U.S. is, what number are we? We are eighth. We are eighth with the average GDP per person of $69,000. Crazy, right? Singapore, 108,000, ladies and gentlemen. And why is that a number that's important? Because that is the maximum amount of money that you can earn as a foreign earning U.S. citizen to qualify for the foreign earned income exclusion and not have to pay any federal taxes on your income if provided by a foreign corporation. So that was what makes Singapore super sexy. Because all you got to do is go to Singapore and make the average. And you don't pay any U.S. property tax, U.S. foreign federal income tax for FEIE. That's a nice thing about living elsewhere. Awesome. I just got back on the 6th of July, currently in South Pasadena, California, heading back to Missouri, building a house on Table Rock Lake. I don't know where that is. Yes, I could Google it. What I know of Missouri is St. Louis, and then East St. Louis, Illinois, right? And but I'm actually very curious where that, and the communities around St. Louis. So I lived in Ladue and Richmond Heights and Clayton, if you guys know the St. Louis area. Pretty nice, people wonderful. Problem: woke up every morning in St. Louis. Ouch. Cost of living super low. Table Rock Lake. Actually, I tell you what. Why don't we all learn more, Mike? Let's see. Chrome tab and Table Rock Lake, and boom. All right. Let's see. Table Rock Lake. We're gonna do maps. I'm very curious about where this is. Let's see. Wow, that is. I mean, it's okay. Excuse me, I assume you see where I'm looking, guys, right? I mean, I'm right here at this red. If we zoom in, I mean, check that out. I mean, that's Table Rock Lake State Park. So Table Rock Lake. Oh, look, Coney Island. Oh my God, they must serve hot dogs there. But check this. I mean, check out this pseudo lake river thingy going on. I mean, that's something you'd see in a Dr. Seuss book, right? Look at that. That's fantastic. I had no idea. I'm completely ignorant to that. So let's move out and see let's zoom out and see where it is. So it is basically down near Branson, which effectively is right at the border of Arkansas. So let's see. So I was over here in St. Louis, which is right at the border of Illinois. And but yeah, down in Branson, Missouri. Wow, that is the Mark Twain Forest. Did you see? I see that. I didn't realize that. The Mark Twain National Forest. Pretty large footprint there. Check that out, right? I mean, that's a large highlighted green. Good for you, Samuel. Way to rock it out. But yeah, I'll tell you, wow, that is a very, very nice area. And I mean, if you're into it, right? I mean, you're right across the border from Arkansas. Man, you're really close. I mean, you could do Kansas, Oklahoma, Missouri, Arkansas. Wow, kind of cool. That's neat. This area, what's funny about living in St. Louis is people always make fun of like people that live in the other areas of your community or your state or whatever that they don't believe are as cool as where they currently live, right? To be able to justify their existence. And that happened in St. Louis actually quite a bit. And people would be like, well, he's from Springfield. Oh my God, is he from Branson? Dude, Joplin, Missouri. Like it was basically the backwards, like they basically rode around on elephants, which as we know is the reason that we all go to Thailand, because there's no cars, there's no pollution, there's no electricity, there's no running water, because of course it's a third world country that apparently can only keep their lights on when it's super hot out, unlike the United States. Hello, other Cool Kids Table members. Thank you so much. Southern part of Missouri. Yeah, that was neat, dude. I dig it down there. Please send me pictures somehow. Oh, my God. Selfishly, I would love to check that out. It must be awesome. I bet you're getting a smoking deal on the real estate, especially if you're in Pasadena right now. Home of 106.7 KROQ, Pasadena, Los Angeles. K-Rock. We love that station. The radio station listened to by more poodles than any other breed of dog. K-Rock. Their service isn't too bad, too. Tells you everything you need to know about the state of American Airlines. So the scale is bad. Is bad, too. Could have been worse. Yeah, I know. It's a little frustrating. 8. Wow, dude, that must be so cool. See, I tell you one thing that I also loved about growing up here in New England, and specifically, you know, the Hingham Harbor, kind of Boston Harbor Islands, Quincy Bay, that sort of thing, you know, because there's a town effectively just sort of like northeast of where I live. It's called Hull, and in Hull, the whole east side of that small little town is Nantasket Beach. And basically, the minute you swim in the water at Nantasket Beach, you are in the Atlantic, right? Kind of like in San Diego. I mean, the minute you're at the beach and you are in the Pacific. Whereas the thing I love about where we live is there's harbors everywhere. Missy will know to this, get into this if she's, because her dad had a great sailboat, and she would always be out there with her, and I would run into her and stuff when we were cruising around on my whaler. You know, there's islands you can go swimming around, and the water was warmer in the summer, and you could go camping, and it was just great, you know. And my parents were like, okay, dude, you're only 13 years old, but here, have this boat and, like, cruise around, and we trust you to not kill yourself, and we also believe that you're going to be safe, and you're not going to float out into the middle of the Atlantic. And there will be people around, and there will be Coast Guard and that sort of thing. So, you know, it was a great place to boat around. And then I get to San Diego, and I mean, again, once you get out of the San Diego Bay, once you get out of sort of, the channel, really, in the San Diego, you're in the Pacific, man. I mean, like right straight out of Coronado, bam, you look right out there, and you look right into Gracie's country. You look right into the Philippines from there, so... so I love the whole shoreline thing, and I can just imagine boating. Now, I wonder if I zoom in on this. Am I still, boom. If I zoom in on this, I wonder if I can drag the guy anywhere. Drag the little Google guy. And with that, can I see any sort of can I see the shoreline with any degree of visibility? So this is like the visitors center, I guess. And behind this building, I guess, is the... Let's see here. Maybe if I go right here, I can get... Is that road like right along the water? Oh, so that's the river. Okay. Oh, okay, nice. Oh, wow, it's quite large. That's pretty good. I mean, obviously they have these buoys in here, for safety against the so let's see. This is higher than this. Let's pray to God they're getting energy from all this potential energy that could be right there. There's my favorite. That is my favorite part of Google Maps, the shiny red ball. All day long. Huge fan. That's really cool, dude. I'm really psyched. We'll be a summer home then, November to March in Vietnam at your wife's house. That sounds like a plan. Good for you, man. That's a plan. I fully support that. I mean, that's kind of what we're doing, right? Basically, Asia for us, and then, New England, June, July, and August, basically. End of June. July and August, hot months. Hot, humid, loving it. Thank you to the 9 people watching, and thank you for your 5 thumbs up, actually. Let me say, I kind of forget to do all that. Live stream green yard duck is the best. Yeah, stream duck. It's good. It does a lot of things. And if you don't know what I'm doing today as well as tomorrow, I started this morning with just using the in-browser YouTube live stream, live control room, I believe is what they call it. That's the appropriate nomenclature. You turn it on, right, and you get camera, and then you get audio, and you can see the chat and stuff, but you can't, overlay it like this, right? And then, of course, the next step I would submit for a lot of people was, oh, hey, let me use StreamYard. Again, if you're doing in-browser. A lot of people will be like, okay, well, I know how to, turn on YouTube live streaming, and there's this RTMP thingy. I don't even know what that stands for, but as long as I download this OBS, which is free, of course, then I can start figuring out, and all I got to do is go to YouTube and say how to use OBS, and someone will teach you, and you're good. And so I understand that is kind of the process. That is sort of the trajectory for a lot of people, whereas a lot of people either simultaneously or maybe in a different trajectory hopped onto StreamYard. I was definitely one of those people when StreamYard first came out. The world started streaming, right, at a rapid pace the minute lockdown became a well-known noun. I'm in lockdown. Well, clearly that means you're a YouTube live streamer. Yeah, I don't know if it's the best. I am very partial to Restream.io. Restream, I believe, it's a more mature platform. It's a little bit more technical. I don't do very sophisticated live streams. Like I don't have a whole bunch of things on the screen, and I'm certainly not a gamer and that sort of thing. But even I ran out of. I got to the limit. I basically hit the rails of the of StreamYard a while ago. Now that said, I see that they do have additional features, not the least of which is you can go to share and click on extra camera. That's pretty rad. I noticed that a lot of the in-browser people, they seem to come out with this at the same time, and they think it's a really great feature, which is slides. So you can basically bring in like a Google or a PowerPoint presentation, which is arguably sort of the generic term, but yes, of course, Microsoft PowerPoint presentation. But Google Slides, right? You can like bring that, and I'm like, I don't know. I guess if I was a regular Zoomer, right? If I was a regular presenter on Zoom for a company, and all I did was go through PowerPoint in order to get my customers engaged with me, then potentially that's what I would want. But man, it really, I just for me again, and maybe for you too, Rike. I don't know. I know you bring up a lot of news articles, and potentially the whole slides thing was really important. So on the dam, ladies and gentlemen. When I was in undergrad at San Diego State University, I was part of IEEE, because of the cute girls that were in engineering. False. Anyway, I was part of IEEE, and one of the things that we did is we went to the University of New Mexico, Albuquerque, but we also went to this conference like in Las Vegas. And as part of the thing in Las Vegas, and this is before 9/11, long before 9/11, we got an engineering tour of the Hoover Dam, which takes you down into the generators, and you see these just giant, circles, right? These just giant cylinders. And my God, it was so loud because the water is rushing past these things. And, of course, they're just like spinning, well, ideally at 3,600 RPM because you need the whole 60 hertz thing. But and then they had a gift shop, and basically they sold hot dogs there, and they called them Dam Dogs. And the gift shop sold T-shirts that said, "I had a damn dog," Hoover Dam, right? But of course, all that closed, and you can't get anywhere near that thing, let alone inside of it. As a 20-year-old kid who's an engineering student. But man, that was just I was so thrilled to be able to do that because of course now it's just impossible, right? I mean, I think unless you basically work for the government, you're not, or the electric company for that matter, power generation company, you're not getting inside the Hoover Dam anytime soon. But man, it was really impressive, and I love stuff like that. Anyway, Robert, thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming by, and Saudi krap, and have a wonderful, wonderful day, sir. Let's see, it's 11:36 for you in the morning there in Calif. And so Pitch and Cam, it's funny, Enrique, thank you for that. I know it's sort of a tongue-in-cheek thing, but I miss doing that too. And Missy, who stopped by, my neighbor, she reminded me that one of the ways we sort of reconnected, right, with me living on the other side of the world, of course, was that, COVID shows up, and then what do? I mean, Gracie left for the Philippines for 2 weeks, and it ended up being a little longer. So I'm, and I'm locked down in Thailand. So it's like, all right, well, I've done this radio thing before. So maybe live streams would be fun. And so, another 8 hours later, I'm doing my first 8-hour live stream. And then, of course, the next time I turn it on, I do a 12-hour live stream. But I don't know. I miss doing this, right? But part of it, to your comment, Rike, is I miss doing just I like talking, and I can do it forever. I appreciate the engagement, though. I mean, the interaction via the chat, actually, that fuels me quite a bit. And so I really appreciate all the comments. But I was like, well, I'll tell you what if I take a camera and then like run this piece of it was that, it was a USB, and it's like the long, because you can only go so far with USB and then the signal drops out. So I want to say 5 meters is the longest you can go with USB before the protocol just basically becomes useless. And I was plugging in this old GoPro, effectively. And I strapped that to I had like a tripod and I turned it down on 2 legs and then strapped it to my railing. And then that was out in my pool, which was of course 100% closed, right? Because it's like, oh God, I got to get to this camera. I got to get to this comment really quick. And so all of a sudden these pigeons start flying by and you guys are watching, they're going, Mike, there are pigeons outside your window and they're pooping at light speed. And I'm like, what are you guys talking about? So then became Pigeon Cam. I'm going to get back to your comments, but I got to hop to this. So my buddy Mark, Dancing Mark Hansen, ladies and gentlemen, Mark Jagger, who with his wife Christy are arguably, if not the top, in the top 1 morning and longest lasting, I think, radio. Maybe Dave Shelley and Chainsaw are longer. But anyway, so Mark is an amazing guy. And the reason he threw up 50 G's there, okay? So you know how you guys have inside jokes, right? And you know how there's something that just sort of happens at work or you're with buddies or whatever. And the great thing about Mark, of course, is that I was at work and he's my buddy. He became a buddy because I worked basically for him, effectively. He was one of the wonderful, wonderful DJs at Star 100.7. I first met him actually at KCBQ, and he was the afternoon guy there. And then he and his, not at the time, but now wife, shortly after they moved over to KFMB, which was Star 100.7. Anyway, so as part of Star 100.7, one of the amazing things that we got to do, not the least of which is work for this guy called Tracy Johnson, he's one of the best damn programmers in the entire country of the U.S., arguably in the world in radio. He's definitely in the top 20 as far as I'm concerned. He would come up, along with our promotion staff, he would come up with these promotions that were just literally not done. If you guys if you lived in any U.S. market and you've listened to hit radio stations or whatever, or pop radio stations, and Christmas time shows up, right? You're like, oh yeah, this place is doing a jingle ball. Well, I mean, there are things like that started somewhere, and a lot of these started with our station, which was Star at the time. And of course, I'm working at it, right? And so I'm in it, and so I didn't really sort of realize that we were coming up with these just amazing, amazing things. And one of the and you've seen this before. It's you keep your hands-on competition, right? So you keep your 2 hands on a car for 35 hours, and the guy that is the last guy with his arms on there, he wins the car, right? So there's that. Things like that. Anyway, we Tracy, and probably other people as well, came up with this thing called Whirl Till You Hurl. Now, again, it's important that you're in a market that has a roller coaster, so that would eliminate a lot of them. But regardless, we have this roller coaster right on the beach in San Diego. So it's on the beach in San Diego, and the weather is quite spectacular, and it's summertime, and we have Whirl Till You Hurl. And the goal there is to ride the roller coaster nonstop, and you win a car and $50,000. And there were people that literally quit their jobs to ride this thing. And it's a very uncomfortable wooden roller coaster. Anyway, so if you're interested in that, I don't know if you can find it on YouTube, because YouTube wasn't around back then, but WHIRL, Whirl Till You Hurl. Ride the roller coaster until you effectively throw up. So Mark and Christy, they were down there doing their afternoon show. We had the morning show down there regularly. We had afternoon show. We had the midday show, and then we would broadcast live from down there. Thank you very much, Engineer Mike. Everything worked very well. And yeah, no problem. I got this. Anyway, so the DJs would interview the contestants, right? And so Mark Jagger, basically everyone just called him Jagger. So Jagger goes up to this one guy, and I swear he was from Russia. I don't even know, but he had this accent that I'm going to butcher, but I'm going to do my best to basically repeat it. And, he would, excuse me, he'd be like, yeah, Jagger and Christy here. Actually, he wouldn't say that like a joke like I just did, like basically a puker on the radio station. No, he was amazing. And so he's like, look, dude, why are you riding this roller coaster? I mean, you're gonna ride this roller coaster. We're gonna give you this Nissan that's worth maybe $26,000. And it's like you live in San Diego. Your full-time salary has got to be like 4 times that. For Christ's sake, you could totally afford a Nissan. Why are you doing this kind of thing, right? And trust me, he didn't elaborate with that level of sarcasm or being that glib. But so he asked this guy. So the guy's like, 50 G's, Jagman. I'm going to win these 50 G's. I'm riding this roller coaster. I win 50 G's. Jagman, I ride this roller coaster. 50 G's, Jagman. And so he said, and so that was just one of these funny sort of things that I know that Mark and I repeated it to each other. I would submit that many other of the on-air personalities, as well as the other staff at that radio station, repeated it. And it was just like totally. So that's why he throws that up there. So 50 G's, Jagman, 50 G's. And I don't believe he won. I do know that we probably lost at least $50,000 in legal fees afterwards. Because even though everyone signed a piece of paper that said, oh, no, if I break my spine, don't worry about it. I'm not going to hold you liable. Spoiler alert, there's also a lot of ambulance chasing, let's just say, lawyers in San Diego that looked at that as an opportunity to say, oh, I could bust through this agreement. They're a public company. They're not going to be able to. Oh, my God. So, anyway, best radio engineer ever. Christy says hi. So, Christy's Mark's wife, Christy Knight Jagger. I actually met Christy before I met Mark when I was on the air at 92.5 The Flash, San Diego's alternative rock, along with Nick Summers in your mornings and greetings and aloha. Number 2 with women on the weekends, ladies and gentlemen. And no, I didn't actually talk like that. I didn't talk like a fool. I was trying to get a girlfriend at the time, so trust me, I talked a lot cooler. At 570-1925, that was more like it. But anyway, I don't know if I was the best radio engineer ever, Mark. I mean, you worked in Market 2. You worked in Los Angeles. I'm trying to think who your engineering staff is now. Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay, I can appreciate why you said I'm the best ever. Because while I didn't necessarily set the bar real high, but the other nice thing, though, too, is we had a ton of resources. I mean, my God, I had 2 radio stations, and 1 AM, 1 FM, and I had 3 engineers at one time, and I was the chief engineer. That is unheard of today. Right? I mean, because after I left, it basically became 2 stations, 1 engineer. So they went from 4 radio engineers down to 1. And quite frankly, that 1 engineer, while he was a fairly adorable guy, arguably I don't think he had the drive for innovation technically, and I don't know if he had the technical competence that I, and arguably at least one of my guys did. I mean, I was trying to develop my leadership at that point in my life, and I was doing my best. I was a lot better technically than I was at a team leader. I was still growing up in that area, and I made a lot of mistakes, and not the least of which is thinking that the job and the money was the most important thing in my life. Didn't take care of myself, and I don't know if you know this, Mark, but one of the beautiful things that happened in my life when I was there, even though I was almost 10 years sober, is that my relationship got so shitty and my life was just so unpleasurable that the woman that I was dating, who ended up on America's Most Wanted, I ended up with her 9mm gun in my mouth thinking, I should probably get rid of this whole life because this is lame. Fast forward to today, life's a lot better. If you look up a lot better, which of course is spelled Bettah, right next to lobster in the dictionary for Boston, a lot better, and my picture is right next to I have the world's best life known to man. And I actually went through some bad breakups, and I remember Mark and Christy inviting me over to their house when I was just going through the emotions, right? And Mark had speaking of Volkswagen Bugs, they bought this used Bug, and I helped them to some degree, very little amount, but I helped them restore it. And so we had all the seats removed and everything, but the windows were still there. And so he had removed all the seats, and this thing's in his driveway, and it's like, okay, well, let's just sand everything down and rip all the carpets out, and let's get rid of the rust, and then let's let's spray it, with some, I don't know, Rust-Oleum or something like this. So I think both of us were in the car at the same time. And now maybe the doors were open, but as you know in a bug, basically the rear windows don't effectively open. Even if they do open, they only open this much at an angle. So we're in there, and we've got aerosol cans of this, and we're like spraying it everywhere. And we're like, oh yeah, we're gonna get rid of all this rust. This thing's gonna be mint, Junior. This thing's gonna be amazing. We're gonna get this down to the frame off restoration. Basically, is what we were going for. The thing is gonna be cherry. It's gonna be mint. And so we're doing this. So we're effectively, without even knowing, we're sitting there huffing paint, effectively, right? And then, so I remember we got out of this thing. It was like, and I was even a smoker back then, I think. And I got out of this thing, and I'll never forget. Mark looks at me and he goes, "Oh my God, this is so dangerous." And I just thought, oh yeah, I suppose we should be like at least gargling with gasoline, to really get the fumes going. But oh my God, that was just, I'll tell you something. The friendships that you get to build when you're working for truly a world-class brand, I think are great. Now, we were also in an industry that was freaking spectacular. And we were in a time in radio when there was effectively no competition. FM was it. Then Napster came out, and people were like, okay, I can download the music that I want, but I don't get the personalities, and I don't get this. People are still into, I got to listen to a morning show. I got to have a cool morning show, and I got to have a cool afternoon show. Like Mark and Christy, that's who you listen to driving home in the afternoon. It was amazing. I mean, the market share that we had at that station was just phenomenal. And oh, you're still listening? Wait, what time? Hold on. What day is it today? It's Dude, aren't you like on the air right now or something? No. Okay. So it's off. Yeah. So if you guys don't, if you're anywhere near if you're anywhere near an internet, type in Magic 92.5, and you guys have absolutely got to listen to Mark and Chris in the morning, because they're just friggin' awesome. And, there's a little bit of a DJ-ness to every DJ. I mean, it's the old saying, right, is you show me a DJ without an ego, I'll show you one without a job, right? And so, but theirs is so healthy, and they're so mature, and they're freaking spectacular example of caring about the local community. They do more for that community than, like, the Red Cross. You know what I mean? Anyway, so Magic 92.5 is where they're at right now in the mornings, and Mark and Jagger and Christy are just friggin' spectacular. Anyway, I also wanted, okay, so hold on. What did you say, Rike? Star Radio was my go-to station every summer. I remember Wilty, one rough roller coaster. Oh, dude, I really hope you got a chance to come by our set when we were down there. I'll never forget. So, and I was engineer, right? So I was in charge of the technical stuff. So yeah, mic cables, and Mark had literally these headphones. You know these headphones, don't you, Mark? These, what's funny is these things have been made the same way for like about 35 years, and these are some of the best friggin' headphones. If you don't know what these are, I'll try to put it up here so you guys can see it. There you go. Sony MDR 7506s, and I swear to God, I would not use any other headset. And I know I've repaired several pairs of Marks that weren't necessarily. Yeah, they called me Beef Jerky because their producer, whose name is Chachi, who owns a freaking media megalopolis up in Los Angeles, which the only thing I'm surprised at is they don't use my voice guy for one of their on-air guys. It's just amazing. But they probably do a lot of, sort of male and female, production and imaging and that sort of thing. Anyway, Chachi was his name. And he used to call me Beef Jerky because at the time, The Simpsons was a very popular radio show. The Simpsons was a very popular TV show. And there's this one scene where Homer goes into the let me see if I can find it. Where Homer goes into the mini mart. And that's where they have a stereotypical Indian guy who like owns the thing, and he's he's like working back there. And Homer does something stupid, like he falls on a whole bunch of stuff, and the Indian guy, he stands up and he goes, "Oh, beef jerky, there's plenty." And for whatever reason, me and this guy Chachi, we just thought that was the funniest thing. And so I said that a couple of times. And so you know how like in the workplace or even in friendships and stuff, like you say the same thing over and over, and then people call you that. So I said, "Oh, beef jerky, there's plenty." And he would be like, beef jerky. So he still calls me that. I was literally on a conference call with this guy like recently. And and he introduced me to someone over email. Now, he is the CEO of this media company. And he goes, yeah, I want you to meet my friend Mike Somerville. And he spelled my last name wrong, Jagger. Can you believe that? Because they used to call me Sully because they thought my last name was Sullivan, even though it's spelled Somerville, which most of us who are English as a first language pronounce Somerville. Anyway, I want to see if I can find The Simpsons, and then I will share this, and I'm also going to share the audio because this was just so funny. But I miss you guys too. I tell you what I miss. I miss working with you, basically for you, and I miss doing it in the environment that effectively Tracy was able to cultivate. I miss the fact that his leaders were we had a big budget. That was nice, I will say, and. Anyway, I want to search for this and see if I can find it. Simpsons. Let's see. Mini Mart beef jerky. I want to see if this comes up. Bright Lights beef jerky. This might be it. I think I have the audio. Hold on. Let me share this. No, that wasn't it. Hold on. Simpsons. I just type it in, beef jerky. There's plenty. Let me see if I do that. I don't know. I mean, how? Because it's draw scene. No, hold on. What do you got here? This might be it. Hold on. Here we go. This is good. This is good. This is good. Oops, sorry, hold on. Stand by. I've got the wrong, damn it. Sharing the wrong screen. Look at me. Mike, you're such a great engineer. Why did you give it up? Well, okay, so I want to share a Chrome tab, and I want to share this one, and then this one. How's that? Okay, cool. All right, let's give this a shot. I think this is the origination of me being called beef jerky.
Jiminy cricket. Ooh, expired ham. Oh, this time I've gone too far. No one will fall for it.
Cheap meat!
Ooh, this one's open.
Ooh, stomach churning. Bowels clenching. Not much time. Must finish.
Hold on.
Your old meat made me sick.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Please accept 5 pounds of frozen shrimp.
This shrimp isn't frozen, and it smells funny.
Okay, 10 pounds.
Woohoo!
Brought to you by...
Damn it, that's not it. Let's see here if I can find it. I'm going to just try this one last time. Mini Mart. That's what I called it, right? Mini Mart beef jerky. Anyway, that was just that one little piece, and that's what it basically came from. Bright Lights beef jerky. That's not it. Coming to America. This might be it. I mean, I know it was Abdu.
You know, kids, the real drowning in this catch is man.
Right.
For the Hindus. By the tusks of great Ganesh, now no one can tell I am not American.
Sorry. I can't find it, but anyway, I miss you too, Mark. I miss you, Mark, like a fat kid misses cake. Anyway, Quickie Mart Chris. Quickie Mart Chris. That was his name. He worked at a Quickie Mart. Quickie Mart Chris was the guy that said, beef jerky? This is 50 G's, Jagman. I come here for the 50 G's. So actually, he probably wasn't making 50 grand if he was working at a Quickie Mart. But yeah, if you ever came down there, anyway, so I'm the guy in charge of doing stuff, right? And so Tracy, the program director, and here's the thing about radio. is if you're ever one of these guys, it's like, well, I really got to plan this out and I got to check it out or whatever. You're not going to do real well if you're going to want to be in an innovative sort of, money making, quite frankly, really cool location, cool station, cool broadcasting solution for entertainment. Because there would be things that come out, it's like, oh yeah, so we're going to be doing this live shot, and I'm like, okay, yeah, where do you want it? Yeah, we're going to be doing a live show. Okay, where do you want to do? Oh, I'm in the middle of this park, and basically it's going to be thundering and lightning, and you can get a broadcast circuit in there, like in the next 15, 20 minutes, right? Yeah, and you just had to, basically just drop everything and do what you could to do it. Now, again, we had a good budget, so that was great. And I knew a guy, as they say, and I knew this lady that worked at the phone company, and I could literally call her direct line. And one time she helped us out so big, I sent her like 4 dozen roses. I mean, I don't even know what this lady looks like, and we've never met face to face. But I'm like, I say to my engineer Chip, who actually was on here a little earlier, he said beef jerky first. I'm like, dude, we got to send her, something nice. I said, so look, here's the company credit. Just like get her, like a couple dozen roses or something, and just like find out where she is and send it to her. And so, I was a little, could have been potentially, I perceived as inappropriate, especially now that everyone's so friggin' uptight if I don't use the wrong pronoun. But he was, she was amazing, and so she totally helped us out. So to the World to Your Hurl thing, I'm like, setting up and everything. And so then they say, okay, so yeah, we've got this star coming. Her name is Angun, and like nobody really knew about her. It was kind of like a pseudo Alanis Morissette persona sort of thing. And she was okay. She was talented, but she was no Alanis Morissette, who I had a huge crush on for the longest time, by the way. Anyway, so then they say, oh, yeah, so the next person, so we're going to get some, oh, yeah, and then, like, in a couple days, Olivia Newton-John's coming. Now, you might say, well, Olivia Newton-John, like, she did that Grease movie, she had a few hits kind of thing. At this time in our lives, because of her being a sort of household word, along with John Travolta, right? But also because of what she went through. She was like the poster, not child, but she was the poster child, if you will. She was the face of surviving breast cancer. I believe it's breast cancer. It might be some other kind. I apologize if that's wrong. But absolutely, she was a champion for many other women, primarily, I think, that went through what she went through and survived it and with dignity and grace, okay? So she's going to show up. So I called my PA guy, and I'm like, all right, dude, I need a generator. I need, like, there's going to be, like, let's say for the sake of argument, 1,500 people, so do this. And I tell you what, but here's the deal. It's Olivia Newton-John. So just so nothing goes wrong, I tell you what, bring a backup generator. Give me, like, 3 or 4 more, sound solutions or whatever. And, bring like 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 feet of extra cable, and we'll get all this stuff, and we'll come down. He's like, all right, fine, and he's like a sound guy. And he's like, look, dude, I can set up a live broadcast in like 15, 20 minutes, fine. So she shows up, and we're getting the stage ready, right, for Olivia Newton-John to perform. And so a few 100 people started showing up, and then a few thousand people showed up, and then a few hundred policemen showed up just to take care of the other 100,000 people that showed up. So there is this, so Greek will know this, there's the roller coaster, which is effectively right at the beach. Now there's a parking lot around it, but then there's the main street that basically comes into the roller coaster, and then there's the beach road that runs alongside the roller coaster, alongside the beach. And there are parks there. This is Mission Bay Park. And so there's the roller coaster, there's a 4-lane road, and then there is a grassy area where people sort of hang out. There's also a parking lot over there. You can, like, launch your boat there. You can hang out at the little, like, man-made beach, which is basically Mission Bay Park. So I'm talking to my sound guy, and I say, set up here, set up here, set up here. And but I tell you what, I mean, I think, honestly, that we're going to, like, overflow this parking lot, this little parking lot we have, which was maybe 100 spaces right in front of the roller coaster where we would kind of do our live broadcast. The DJs would pull in, they'd show up. But it's probably going to go, I tell you what, why don't we make it so that sound at least goes like across the road sort of thing, right? So he sets up the appropriate thing, and we do, a hop, and then we get over there, and he's got these giant, speakers and everything. So Olivia Newton-John comes on. And I look out and I'm like, oh yeah, there's some people here, and then there's some people on that sort of grassy area across there. But that's probably 10, maybe if we're lucky, 5,000 people, let's say. Well, we also had a helicopter at the time, not our station. Well, our station, yes, but not our radio station, our TV station, effectively. So they do this. They do this. They do this helicopter shot of Mission Bay. And it was literally like there were cars on the street, And then every other piece of property was filled with a human. And they were all there to basically see and support Olivia. But then they also realized our promo that we're doing, this giveaway that we're doing, because not everyone in town knew of our station and not everyone in town listened to our silly station. It wasn't silly, that's for sure. It's highly revenue generating. But it was one of the best moments of my career. Not the least of which is I got to work with Mark and Chris, and I got to work with Jeff and Jer. If you don't know, they were a pretty damn good morning show in San Diego. Arguably number one, depending upon how you measured it. If you listen to like metal and you listen to like classic rock or something like that, there was probably another station that you were more fond of, which is KGB and their morning show. But a lot of people listen to Jeff and Jer, and arguably if you lived in San Diego, Jeff and Jer was pretty much a household word as well. But there were so many people at this thing that, our local, we were a CBS affiliate, right? So obviously it gets picked up by the other CBS things. If they're like, oh yeah, we're in Los Angeles and we're on Channel 2, CBS up here. Not a whole lot's happening down there. Did you get, you got your Yo Play. Good for you. I think do you like it or is it too sweet? It's good, yeah. Yo Play's great. So CNN picks us up. And if you don't know, it's a fairly well-known broadcast company. So we are now record famous. And, even before then, the station was doing great. But my God, after that, it just was outstanding. And one of the great things about that is that a lot of people listened. A lot of people paid a lot of money to advertise on our station. And from an engineering perspective, I had a pretty damn big budget, which was outstanding. That is not the case any longer. Radio is a really tough friggin' uphill climb. Especially now, you're competing. You're trying to yank people away from freaking, podcasts and just every other streaming solution out there. It's really, really tough. And so even, and the commercials that basically used to sell for $1,000 are now selling for $200. And so that's not good, right? In other words, the cost of living today is higher than it was back then. But, if what you're selling as a business is 1/5 the price of the 1/5 the amount of revenue you were getting before, game over. Forget it. Follow Jagger and Christie pre-marriage saga. Yeah, so what a lot of people don't know, right, is that the deal with radio is there's a lot of smoke and mirrors. And a lot of times that there will be things that get talked about on the radio that basically you think to yourself, oh my God, you get really wrapped up in it. Maybe not so much anymore. But certainly back then, when you basically believed what all the radio, what all of the people were telling you. And, during April Fools, for example, there's this one station, and during every single break that they turned on the microphone, there would be the sound of crickets in the background, and they would laugh and they would do their entire show as if that was never happening because it was April Fools. And so you do cute stuff like that or whatever. But a lot of times, you bring in relationships into a radio station kind of thing, and then people they like to be part of the drama. They like to. But here's the thing with Mark and Chris. I wasn't at their wedding, but I was at the reception, and at their house actually. Wow, that was oh my God! Compared to their current house, it was a little smaller. God, what a memory. Anyway. So the point is that they had this, they had a real wedding, but then they had, the on-air wedding kind of thing. And it was really cool. And I hope, actually, I remember at the time, it was just like, okay, I get why they're doing this because they're a personality, they're a brand, and they're on the air. And they're doing this thing. But it was so cool because I would submit to you that a lot of people sort of watched them and been like, okay, this is a married couple that I want to emulate sort of thing, right? And then people would be like, well, I want to be like Jagger and Christie. I wouldn't necessarily say it out loud, but there's always got to be sort of this champion of success. And I think those guys brought that a lot to them. So yeah, that was their, they got married on the air, but believe me, they were absolutely married in real life. So Boo Boo blowing up his own engineering chops. Yep, that's me, buddy. I miss you guys. Massachusets, Rike, had a great lead on Balik Bayan entering Cebu unvaxxed. I am following like a hawk. Oh, hi, Mike. How's Gracie? Gracie's amazing. Thank you so much, CB. Appreciate you being here. So Balik Buy-In, we actually checked it out. Balik Buy-In from here in Massachusetts, in Boston, is almost twice the price of it from San Diego. San Diego, you could get Balik Buy-In over to certainly Manila in about a month. And it was like about $100 for the massive box. And then they give you like the pseudo, like twice the size of a shoebox for free. Twice the size of a... and so, and so you could do that. And I would send those over to Gracie for like $100, $110. We went up to the guy around here, and his Balik Buy-In boxes are about $180. So yeah, again, it's further, right? I mean, we're literally like on the other side of the world from Southeast Asia here in Boston. So, oops, live is closed. What? You mean YouTube or Facebook? I know Facebook. No. Facebook can easily do 2 hours. I'm not even at 2 hours. Again, it's further. Right?
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
literally like on easily do 2. All right. Well, let me see about my channel. Make sure I'm still streaming live. Oh my God, he imitated Apu. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, that's too bad. I so regret not taking the day off. Star had Donna Lewis in concert. Such a big fan. Dude, I'm telling you something. We were so freaking lucky and so blessed with people that were really smart to be able to make really cool things happen. And then we also got, oh my God, did he lob that over the net? So there's some other things that Mark and I, Christy too, but Mark and I had this like just sort of little, banter that we would do. And so 50 G's was one of those little things that we would say. And then we would also say, muy complicado, man, muy complicado. And I don't remember where that originates from. We also had this other thing, like the list of people that are on a boat or that are on a plane or whatever, and they call it a manifesto. For some reason, we would be like, oh, man, I need a manifesto. I got to have a manifesto. I don't know if we would say it like that, like Tony Montana. Like it was giving me the yayo. Hey, Mark, give me the yayo. Chichi, give me the yayo. But I just, muy complicado. Oh my God, talk about good times. I'm having a gratitude attack flashback, which is like totally cool. All right, hold on. Let me see over here. What did you share with us, Rike? Let me see here. Will it open up? Oh God, it doesn't open up in a new. Oops, something went wrong. Oops, stand by. I love when YouTube does that, because of course they have no technical competency at Google. False. They're friggin' amazing. Okay, hold on. Let's see. Open up a new tab. Oh, for the love of God, YouTube. Why can I not find this in the new tab? Let me see here. There we go. YouTube, Rike, new tab. Donna Lewis, are you sharing? Is this our...
Feels like I'm standing the time is...
Okay, well, there goes all my ad revenue. Yeah, no, Donna Lewis is really cool. That was a huge hit for us, and I agree. There are some things in my life that you were just like, wait a minute, why did I not take the time to... Yeah, no, I get it, man. I absolutely get it. Muy complicado, man. Thank you for all 11 of you hanging out. I really appreciate it. The sixth thumbs up don't hurt my fragile ego either. So that's very nice. Anyway, so I'm at like basically 2 hours. I want to remind you guys of a couple of things if you've made it this far. One is that if you're anywhere near Southeast Asia, which is basically also includes Southern California, bkk.fm is the rock station that I would love for you guys to get involved with and love to listen to continuously and patronize us and comment and give some suggestions. info@bkk.fm. If you would like to somehow get your input heard, I'm absolutely more than willing to open my ears and listen to solutions on how to make radio a lot better. I know that, again, the big challenge of FM, right, is like pulling people away from Spotify. But this is not going to compete with Spotify. It's going to enhance Spotify. And, in fact, we may even be – okay, this is crazy. So I am absolutely – hello, Lisa. I am absolutely having a KFMB flashback right now because Mark and Chris, Jagger and Christy – if you weren't watching earlier, Lisa, Mark just came on and was reminding me of Whirl Till You Hurl. You remember that friggin' thing? And Lisa, she was in charge of what was, now you would say, oh my God, well, of course they have one. But at the time, it was this new thing of the web, right? So we had like a website, highstar.com, right? And And she was in charge of that whole department, the media department. And it wasn't just the website for the FM station. I mean, it was the other one, and I believe that they were also outsourcing and doing various things. Lisa, if you've not jumped away yet, I want to say a couple of things. First of all, if you guys ever wondered where my logo came from for my IT company, which is the big I, which is the only thing on the internet, tell your friends. If you're wondering where that logo came from, well, the woman who's in the chat right now, Lisa, she's the one who came up with that, and I really appreciate that. Now, again, I just basically said, hey, so type an @sign and like remove it and put a dot. Now, again, that was impossible for me, and she just like basically with her eyes closed, she just like whips out Photoshop, I guess, and read it. Anyway, I've used that logo for now. Boy, what is it? 2020. So probably. I believe I registered thebigi.net in 97. So like almost 25 years I've been using that logo. So thank you very much, Lisa. Secondly, I'm doing a presentation for a graduate class of the degree that I have, the master's degree that I have, Master of Science in Executive Leadership. So I come back, and this is after I had been traveling to Thailand for a while, and I got this grant to basically go over to Thailand, because I was going anyway, but they gave me, money and resources and things, a grant to basically go over to Thailand and study the startup ecosystem and the entrepreneurial culture that was over there, right? And so I had some deliverables to do. So I put this together, this PowerPoint presentation, and I was going to present it to I believe it was international business or international leadership or business leadership in an international context or something like this. Anyway, the reason I bring this up and the reason I want to get through this as fast as I possibly can before Lisa leaves is that I believe he was either your brother or your brother-in-law. So I throw up this logo, right? And I'm talking about this, and then I say, oh yeah, and I started on radio and stuff, but the height of my career was working at KFMB or whatever. So we get through the whole thing, and he doesn't raise his hand. I said, hey, if anyone has any questions, they want to come up. So he seemed fairly introverted. I'm not quite sure. He could have just been in that mood at that day. Comes up, and he goes, so you worked at KFMB? I'm like, yeah, it was pretty awesome. He goes, well, maybe you know and again, I can't remember the relation. Maybe you know my sister, my sister-in-law, or something like this. Lisa, she works there. And I was like, what? I said, dude, she's the one that came up with. So anyway, serendipity, small world, and I hope I have the right Lisa. Oh my God, I'm going to be so bummed if I have the wrong. Let me just make sure because I looked. Sorry, Facebook. I looked at Lisa Waters and I thought, wait a second, is this also the Lisa that I got to work with? And she was brilliant, man. And because it was like, you didn't just like, go on to Fiverr and find someone to like code Java. I mean, this is very difficult and time consuming, and you have to have quite the skill set, quite frankly, to be able to do that. And she also had to put up with me and and my arrogance in my burgeoning career. Yes, thank God. It is the same one. So here's what's cool, too. I just went to her Facebook page. So her first career, apparently, her most important career that she has listed in her intro is mom. Nice work. But yeah, so digital media director at Local Media San Diego. Local Media San Diego, I believe, is the one that I'm going to go with. What do they own? 92.5, 91X. I don't believe they own Z. Is Z90 part of that too? Or am I getting the totally mixed up with someone else? Regardless, if you're still listening, if you're still watching, Lisa, thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate it. It was an absolute honor to work and learn and work with you. And thank you for putting up with me. And thank you on behalf of the Big I. It's the only thing on the internet. Tell your friends. Yeah, so BKK.FM, that is what's coming out of Bangkok, and WCOZ.FM, ladies and gentlemen, that is what's coming out of, it's all coming out of the internet, but basically the origin of it sort of is Bangkok for sure, and it's definitely the station, if you will, that I work on when I'm there. I also work on another property that I just threw up, which is WCOZ.FM, only because it was kind of really, really cool call letters. I'll throw that one up there right underneath Rike's. And Rike, thank you so much for sharing the link. But that's WCOZ. WCOZ was this station in the late 80s that, actually sort of early 80s, really. The early 80s that I absolutely fell in love with. They were they had a slogan which is kick-ass rock and roll with no BS. And I can tell you in the early 80s, I mean, you didn't necessarily just say kick-ass rock and roll. You know, I mean, that wasn't said on, like, the soaps in the middle of the day. Like, it had to be after 10 p.m. before, like, someone would actually say kick ass or something like this, you know, on TV. Whereas now, you know, they say that, you know, the morning shows, the Today morning show. Anyway, so that was another one that I did, and that I loved, and so therefore I've sort of resurrected it. I yanked the old logo in from a bunch of stuff that, of course, you can find anything on the internet, right? And yeah, so that's so WCOZ.FM. It used to be 94.5 or 94.5 WCOZ, kick-ass rock and roll with no BS. And that was the original one right there. So as you can see, I just sort of removed the 94.5 and threw the dot in there. So WCOZ.FM, that's another really fun pet project of mine. Also very heavy rock, very testicular. And but then, of course, the final one that you guys probably know about, if you know anything about, you know, what I do in my spare time, in my retirement, in my relaxation years, is Kiss FM Patia. And the reason that I want you to see and like sort of pay attention to Kiss FM Patia is that's going to go through a huge rebranding. And I got a couple of buddies that are helping me with that right now, and we're giving ourselves a lot of runway. Basically, the go live date is going to be November 1st. So anyway, that's another project of mine. And so with that, we're basically at 2 hours. I want to thank you guys for like coming by and hanging out on the StreamYard live stream because this was, again, an in-browser test of something. My next one to test is actually going to be Restream. And, you know, without sort of coloring it, I will tell you that I have a preference to Restream. I believe they have more features. Their technical staff is outstanding. They have a live chat with support on the lower right-hand corner, which is awesome. I only pay $50 a month, and I have, like, the Premier, Pro, awesome, all the features version. I can stream to, I think, quite literally an unlimited amount of channels. And we'll probably be streaming live in that tomorrow, actually. The plan is to go live tomorrow at 10 a.m. East, 7 a.m. West, which would basically be, let's see, what would that be? That would be 10 p.m. Philippines, 9 p.m. Thailand, and, you know, I can't remember what time that is in Steph's hometown of Belgium. I can't remember what the delta in time is from there. But in any case, with that, it's Mike from LiveMyAssOff.com saying I hope you're living the dream, because if you are not living the dream, then there's a high likelihood that you have not clicked on the URL that Rike threw up there, which is bkk.fm. And with that, I will talk with you guys soon. Please feel free to send me an email anytime, and I hope I can help you in any way possible. LiveMyAssOff@gmail.com. And with that, have an amazing day. Ciao.